welcome to the Deep Dive.
Okay, we've got a huge stack of sources today,
Hmm.
all focusing on, well, just a singular, really spectacular force in global music.
Hmm.
We're going behind the headlines to really analyze the life and the frankly staggering career of the Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah, staggering is the right word. When we talk about Bocelli, we're talking about a real phenomenon, someone who's managed to bridge these worlds that, people often thought were completely separate, classical and pop.
Exactly.
And the scale of his success, it's just mind-blowing. Over 90 million albums sold around the globe.
90
Yeah, I mean, that's not just a big number. That puts him in this really exclusive club. It cements him as one of the most commercially successful classical singers ever, period.
And that's precisely our mission for this deep dive. We want to trace that whole story. How does a boy born in rural Tuscany back on September 22nd, 1958,
Yeah.
facing huge challenges, including losing his sight completely at age 12,
Mm-hmm.
how does he climb to global stardom?
It's an amazing journey. We really want to get into the record-breaking path he took and how he, well, fundamentally changed the game for classical music, redefined what was possible.
It's such a compelling story, isn't it? Talent, timing, relentless drive. So many people know the big hits, of course.
Oh, yeah?
Time to Say Goodbye, that iconic duet.
Cante partiro.
And The Prayer as well, which got so much acclaim.
Right.
But to really understand that global stage, you have to go back, way back, to the very beginning on a quiet farm in Italy.
Okay, so let's unpack this start. It's not typical. Bocelli grew up near Lahatico in Tuscany, farming family. His parents, Alessandro and Edie, they ran the farm. And right from the beginning, Andrea had these significant issues with his vision.
That's right. The sources are clear. It was congenital glaucoma, so born with it. But the really defining moment, the thing that led to permanent and total blindness that happened when he was 12.
12?
Yeah, he was playing football, loved the game apparently, and a ball hit him hard in the head.
Oh.
Tragically, yeah, it caused a cerebral hemorrhage, and that just wiped out the little vision he had left.
God, to go through that complete blindness just as you're hitting your teens, that's unimaginable.
A massive shock. And what's really striking in the sources is how music immediately became more than just comfort. It became his anchor, his whole identity almost.
Right. It wasn't just a hobby anymore. It was like, okay, this is my world now.
Exactly. It shifted from a pastime to his absolute main focus, all-consuming.
And you see this idea, necessity driving invention, or genius in this case.
Totally. While a lot of kids might withdraw after something like that, Bocelli just threw himself into music even more. His dedication started super early piano lessons at 6 years old.
6?
Yeah, but that was just the start of him, really digging into music.
Because he didn't just play piano. The sources list all these other instruments he picked up.
It's incredible.
Flute, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, guitar, drums.
The whole ensemble.
It really shows that it wasn't just passion. It was like this deep, almost academic need to understand how music works from the inside out.
And think about that. For someone visually impaired wanting to be a tenor, learning all those instruments, absorbing musical scores without sight, it points to an extraordinary auditory memory.
Absolutely. And analytical skill, too.
Which is invaluable for an opera singer, right? Mastering complex scores, often in foreign languages, really quickly. That foundation was crucial.
And the goal, it seems, was always opera, even as a kid.
Yeah, the sources say by age 7, he was already set on it, memorizing famous tenors, trying to imitate their voices.
Not just singing along, but analyzing the technique, trying to figure out how they did that.
And that practice, that internal training, it started paying off publicly pretty early on.
He started performing in his village as a teenager.
Yeah, getting that early experience in front of people. And the first real sign of his potential came when he was 14. He won his first singing competition.
With what song?
A classic, O Sole Mio.
Ah, okay. A crowd pleaser.
Definitely. So you see this early success, this intense dedication. You'd think the next step is obvious, right? Straight to music school.
Conservatory, yeah. But no. Instead, we get this really surprising detour.
The law degree.
He goes into law.
It does make you pause, doesn't it? Why law? But it probably says a lot about his family, maybe valuing, a traditional education, a stable career path.
Especially given the uncertainties of music and his blindness.
Exactly. So he finishes secondary school in 1980, then commits fully to studying law at the University of Pisa, no less.
A prestigious place.
Yeah.
And he actually did it. Got the degree.
And even work as a lawyer. Briefly, though. Only about a year, the sources say. court-appointed.
Can you imagine the mental switch from the emotion of music to well, the rigid logic of law?
It's a huge contrast. But, that law degree, it served a purpose. It funded the dream.
Ah, right. Because the sources mention this double life he was leading.
Totally intense. Studying or practicing law by day.
And then singing in piano bars at night to make money.
Exactly. It gave him the financial means, but also, crucially, kept him performing, kept him honing his skills in front of real, paying audiences.
That piano bar circuit, it wasn't just about the money, was it? It must have been incredible training. Learning how to connect with an audience outside the formal opera setting.
Absolutely. And it's where he met his first wife, too, Enrica Cianzotti, around 1987 while he was performing.
So, a lot happened in those bars. But ultimately, the music won out.
The passion was just too strong, it seems. That lawyer chapter, it showed his discipline, sure, but it was always going to be temporary.
He had to make the choice.
He did. Stepped away from the safe legal path to go all in on music. A massive leap of faith.
And that decision, leaving law for the stage,
Yeah.
that really set everything in motion for what came next.
And it's amazing how quickly things started moving once he made that leap. The first really huge break, the moment that cracked everything open, came in 1992. And it involved this incredible collision of Italian music worlds.
Rock meets opera.
Pretty much. The Italian rock star Zucchero, huge name.
Yeah.
He needed a tenor, just for a demo track. For a song he'd co-written with, well, Luciano Pavarotti himself.
Wow. The song was Miseria, right?
That's the one. Zucchero just needed someone who could kind of sound like Pavarotti for the demo. So Bocelli auditions, sings the part.
Just as a stand-in?
Exactly. Zucchero sends this demo take off to Pavarotti. And Pavarotti's reaction, well, it wasn't what anyone expected.
He was blown away.
Completely captivated. You have to stop and think about what that means. An endorsement from the operatic voice of the century.
It wasn't just a compliment. It was life-changing.
Career-making. And that's where we get that famous quote. Pavarotti didn't just say Bocelli was good. He basically told Zucchero,
Let Andrea sing it.
yeah, let Andrea sing Misery with you because no one is better than him. He essentially took himself out of the running for the main recording.
Passing the torch, almost, from the biggest tenor in the world. It's unbelievable validation.
Unbelievable. And Zucchero listened. He chose Bocelli for the final recording and their version of Misery. It became a massive hit across Europe.
Just like that.
Which then led to Bocelli joining Zucchero on his huge European tour as a guest artist.
So suddenly he's performing in front of enormous crowds.
Instantly. Huge platform. And it was brilliant exposure because he wasn't just singing the duet. He also got solo spots.
What did he sing solo?
Famously, Nessun Dorma from Puccini's Turandot.
Wow. So he's singing high opera to these massive rock audiences.
Exactly. He was already building that crossover appeal before he even had his own solo album out. Smart move.
Okay, so he's got this rock audience exposure happening. But at the same time, he's tackling the traditional heart of Italian music.
Sanremo.
Right.
The Sanremo Music Festival, for anyone listening who doesn't know, Sanremo it's more than a contest in Italy. It's a cultural event, a huge deal.
A real benchmark for success there.
Absolutely. His first go was late 92. He competed in the newcomers category, the Giovanni, with Miserere, actually.
And how did that go?
He passed the qualifying round, but not just he got a record high score for that category.
Already making waves.
Signaling that the public response was immediate. But the real launch, the moment he went from promising guy to bona fide star in Italy, that was February 1994.
He went back to Sanremo.
Yep, back again, this time in the main competition, with a new song, Il mare calmo della sera, the calm evening sea.
Yeah.
He won the newcomer category, again and again, with the highest vote total ever recorded in that category's history.
Okay, so that was the explosion point.
That was it. Victory didn't just mean a trophy, it meant magazine covers, national fame, overnight.
And the album followed quickly.
Lightning fast. April 94, just weeks after winning Sanremo, his debut album comes out. Same title, Il mare calmo della sera.
And it did well.
Platinum status. Straight into the top 10 in Italy within weeks. I mean, think about that speed. Just a couple years before, he's a lawyer deciding to risk it all for music.
And now he's a national singing star.
The trajectory is incredible, and 1994 just kept delivering. Beyond the album's success, he gets invited back to the Pavarotti and Friends charity concert.
But this time, not as a demo singer.
No way. This time, he's singing a duet with Pavarotti, on stage, as an equal.
Wow. Full circle. And he also started singing actual opera that year, too.
Yes, fulfilling that childhood dream. His formal opera debut was in 94. He played Macduff in Verdi's Macbeth. in Pisa, actually.
So he's cementing his classical credentials, too, showing the
Well,
purists he's serious.
Exactly, balancing the worlds. And then, maybe the most symbolic moment of that year, he gets invited to perform for Pope John Paul II.
At the Vatican.
At St. Peter's Basilica in Rome for Christmas.
Okay, let's just tick that list for 1994. Pavarotti's endorsement and duet partner, Sanremo winner, opera debut, performs for the Pope.
Yeah, when you put it all together like
The
that.
foundations for global stardom were definitely being laid right there.
Right, so by 95, Bocelli is huge in Italy, a national hero, basically. But taking that global, that needed something else. It needed that one song that could cross borders, transcend language.
And he went back to Sanremo again in 95.
He did, yeah. Now in the main category, with a song called Con te partirò, which means I will leave with you.
That's the original Italian version of Time to Say Goodbye.
That's the one. It was on his second album, Bocelli, and it did okay at Sanremo, got 4th place. Respectable.
But not the massive explosion like his first win.
No, not quite the same phenomenon domestically. The song needed something. A spark. A catalyst to make it a world beater. And that catalyst arrived purely by chance.
Serendipity strikes again.
It really seems that way with him. The story goes that the English soprano, Sarah Brightman...
Famous from Phantom of the Opera.
Exactly. World famous. She happened to hear Bocelli singing Con te partirò in a restaurant somewhere.
Randomly.
Apparently so. Always pays to be singing, I guess.
True.
Brightman heard the power in that melody and had this idea, a radical idea, really.
Turned into a duet.
Yes. Rename it, rewrite some lyrics, partly in English, partly Italian, and call it Time to Say Goodbye.
And they brought in the big guns for the recording.
Oh, yeah. The London Symphony Orchestra. To give it that huge, epic feel.
Okay, so they have this massive sounding duet. How did they launch it?
This is where the marketing genius comes in. Instead of just, dropping a music video or pushing it to radio, they performed it live. At the farewell boxing match of the German boxer Henry Maske in 1996.
No way. Henry Maske was a huge deal in Germany. A national hero.
Exactly. Massive TV audience across Europe watching this really emotional event, their hero retiring.
And right in the middle of that emotion.
Boom! These two incredible voices perform a song literally called Time to Say Goodbye.
It's perfect timing. Linking that classical sound directly to this huge mainstream cultural moment.
Absolutely perfect. And the impact, especially in Germany, it was instantaneous and enormous.
It went straight to #1.
Debuted at #1, stayed there for 14 weeks, which was unheard of.
Yeah.
Sold almost 3 million copies in Germany alone.
3 million.
6 platinum awards, a new record at the time. That single performance, that song. It basically made Bocelli an international superstar overnight.
And not just an Italian singer, but the face of this crossover genre.
He became the king of crossover. The guy who could take opera and make it, well, cool. Desirable even, for people who'd never listened to classical music.
His profile must have just soared after that.
Globally, yeah. Suddenly, he's getting recognition way outside music circles. Like, in 1998, People magazine puts him on their 50 most beautiful people in the world list.
Okay, so he's officially a celebrity now, not just a singer.
A full-fledged international celebrity. And that same year, 1998, he doubles down on the crossover strategy. Another huge duet
The Prayer.
with Celine Dion for the animated movie Quest for Camelot.
Another massive voice.
And The Prayer did huge things, especially in America. It brought him serious critical acclaim, the kind usually reserved for pop or movie soundtracks.
It won awards, didn't it?
Golden Globes, Best Original Song. And it got nominated for an Oscar, too, same category.
These aren't classical awards. These are mainstream entertainment industry wins.
Exactly. It cemented his place. And it led to that incredibly famous quote from Celine Dion about his voice.
Oh, yeah, the voice of God quote.
Right. She said, famously, that if God had a singing voice, it would sound much like Andrea Bocelli.
I mean, coming from Celine Dion, another vocal powerhouse.
It's about the highest praise you can get from a peer, isn't it? It speaks volumes about the sheer quality, the emotional punch of his voice. And that crossover power was so undeniable that in 1999, the music industry itself had to acknowledge it in a big way. Bocelli got nominated for a Grammy.
For Best New Artist, right, which is wild.
It's truly remarkable. Think about that category. It's almost always pop, rock, R&B, rap artists.
Yeah.
For a classical tenor to get that nomination, it just shows how completely he'd broken through into the mainstream.
But what's so interesting is, even with all this pop success, He never abandoned the classical side.
Not at all. In fact, he used that massive global fame to actually set records within the classical world. His 1999 classical album, Sacred Areas, that made history.
How so?
It landed him in the Guinness Book of World Records because it managed to hold the top 3 spots on the U.S. classical album charts simultaneously.
All 3 top spots, with one album's tracks or different releases. It says the album occupied the spots. So maybe different configurations or just dominance.
The sources say the album itself occupied the top 3 spots. It likely refers to his overall dominance holding those positions, maybe different versions or just unprecedented sales pushing everything else down. But the point is, that kind of dominance on the classical charts, it's almost unheard of.
It proves he wasn't just a pop singer with a good voice borrowing classical tunes. He was a genuine force in the classical market.
A massive force, and the sales figures just keep piling up. Sacred Areas is still one of the best-selling classical albums ever by a solo artist, and that earlier compilation, Romanza, from '97.
That's the one with Time to Say Goodbye.
Right, that's considered one of the best-selling albums of all time, period. Any genre, the numbers are just astronomical.
So, into the 2000s, how did he manage these 2 worlds, the opera and the pop crossover?
He really seemed to find a balance. On one side, he was finally getting to record the big, full operas he dreamed of since childhood. You know, La Bohème, Il Trovatore, Tosca, Pagliacci, the major works.
Checking those off his list.
Exactly. But at the same time, he kept releasing new crossover albums, both classical themes and pop collaborations, strategically keeping his name out there, keeping that commercial relevance high.
And that dual approach gave him this incredible visibility everywhere, not just in concert halls.
Totally. Like in 2006, he performs at the closing ceremony of the Winter Olympics in Turin, sings Because We Believe from his album Amor.
Huge global audience for that.
Massive. Putting his voice right at the center of this global event. And the same year, he's performing at the NBA All-Star Game in Houston.
From the Olympics to the NBA.
See? He's crossing worlds constantly. Opera fans, pop fans, sports fans. He reaches them all.
Which I guess naturally leads to the ultimate symbol of mainstream fame.
The star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Yep, got that in 2010. For his contribution to live performance, it's that physical marker of just how big he'd become internationally.
Now let's talk about the collaborations more, especially the later ones.
Yeah.
Because they seem really key to keeping him relevant with younger audiences.
Absolutely crucial. In 2015, he teams up with Ariana Grande.
Huge pop star.
Massive at the time. They record EP.17 for his album Cinema, which was all film scores.
And that wasn't just a random pairing, was it?
Felt very strategic. You put Bocelli together with Grande, and instantly, a whole new generation, her fans are hearing his voice, maybe for the first time. It exposed him to a massive younger audience.
And the album Cinema did well.
Got a Grammy nomination, actually. Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album, so critical success, too. But maybe the collaboration that really showed his power to blend genres was the one with Ed Sheeran in 2017.
Perfect symphony. Taking Sheeran's monster hit, Perfect.
Yeah, and redoing it as this English-Italian orchestral duet.
That must have been tricky, blending those voices.
Yeah.
Sheeran's very contemporary pop style, Bocelli's operatic power.
A huge production challenge, for sure. But the result, it was a digital phenomenon. Went viral. It showed Bocelli wasn't just, resting on his laurels. He was actively engaging with contemporary music.
And there were others, too, right? Jennifer Lopez.
Dua Lipa.
Yep, you did a Spanish song, Quizás, with J-Lo, and worked with Dua Lipa on a track called If Only. He kept reaching out across genres and cultures.
But maybe the most personal collaboration came with his own family.
Singing with his son, Matteo, on the song Fall on Me.
Which felt like passing the baton again, in a way, bringing the next generation of Bocelli into the spotlight.
A really lovely moment. And all this collaboration, this focus on staying current, it set the stage perfectly for what happened in 2018.
The album, See?
A pop classical album. And it did something genuinely historic.
Number 1 album.
Number 1 album in both the US and the UK, simultaneously. On the main Billboard 200 chart and the official UK albums chart. Wow. A pop classical album hitting number 1 on the main pop charts.
It was the first time ever a pop classical album had topped the Billboard 200. It completely broke the mold. The media reaction was huge, people saying he'd opened a new dimension for classical music.
He didn't just sell records, he actually changed how the industry saw and marketed classical crossover music.
Absolutely. A true game changer.
So while all this incredible career stuff was happening, what about his personal life? Family seems really central to him.
It really does. He married his first wife, Enrica Tanzati, back in June 1992, right around the time things started taking off.
And they had children.
2 sons, Amos, born in 1995, and Matteo, born in 1997, the singer.
Right. But that marriage ended.
They separated in 2002, but interestingly, that same year, 2002, is when he met Veronica Berti.
Who became his partner and manager, too, right?
Exactly. She became a huge part of his life, personally and professionally. They were together for a long time before getting married.
12 years, the sources say.
Yeah, they finally married in March 2014. They already had a daughter together by then, Virginia, born in March 2012.
And it was really nice reading the sources is how they seem to have maintained this close family unit even after the separation.
It seems like a very modern, supportive setup. They all live near each other in Forte dei Marmi in Tuscany. His ex-wife, the older sons, everyone's close by.
Allows for frequent contact, support for the kids.
Yeah, and obviously we see Matteo following right in his father's footsteps now, building his own career as a tenor.
That musical legacy continuing. But Bocelli also focused on a different kind of legacy, didn't he? Philanthropy.
Yes, very much so. In July 2011, he and his family officially launched the Andrea Bocelli Foundation, the ABF.
What's the focus of the foundation?
It's really about helping vulnerable people, the poor, the sick, people marginalized by society, both in Italy and globally. They seem focused on making a real, tangible difference. Things like improving access to healthcare, supporting education projects, direct poverty relief in communities that really need it.
And that commitment, that side of him, became incredibly visible to the whole world during a really difficult time.
The pandemic. April 2020. Easter Sunday.
The Music for Hope concert.
Live from the Duomo Cathedral in Milan, which was completely empty. Eerily empty.
Such a powerful image.
It really resonated globally, didn't it? In that moment of intense isolation and fear, his solo performance, it felt like this act of shared humanity, solace through music.
And the viewing numbers were just insane for a classical event.
Off the charts. Around 5 million people watching live simultaneously, and then over 32 million views on YouTube within just 24 hours.
Wow, that's historic.
Yeah.
It really showed his unique ability to connect on this massive emotional level with the whole world.
Definitely cemented his legacy beyond just music sales. And he's kept involving his family in his music, too.
The Christmas album.
A Family Christmas, yeah, in 2022. Singing with Matteo, who's established by then, but also with his daughter, Virginia.
How old was she then?
Only 10.
10 years old. Singing on an album with Andrea Bocelli.
And they performed together live, too. They did the UK Festival of Remembrance in London that November.
So he's actively bringing her into the professional performing world, nurturing that next generation.
Seems like it. And his presence on these huge formal stages hasn't slowed down either.
Like the King's coronation?
Exactly. May 2023, coronation concert for King Charles III at Windsor Castle. He performed You'll Never Walk Alone as a duet.
With who?
The Welsh baritone, Sir Bryn Terfel. Another powerhouse pairing.
So just looking back at the honors, it's a long list.
It really is. You've got the Golden Globes back in '99 for The Prayer, multiple World Music Awards. He was named Best-Selling Classical Artist in the World in 2002 and again in 2006.
And specific classical awards, too, like the Brits.
Yep. Several classic Brit Awards over the years. Album of the Year for Sentimento in 2003. International Artist of the Year in 2012.
And recognition from his home country.
Oh, yes. Italy awarded him the Grand Ufficiale, Grand Officer of the Republic of Italy, back in 2006. That's a very high state honor.
Recognizing his service to the nation, essentially.
Exactly. And the honors keep coming, even recently. Appointed a Knight of the Civil Order of Savoy just in 2025.
It's just an incredible story all around. Overcoming adversity, the law detour, then just conquering both the opera world and the pop world simultaneously.
His journey is completely unique. That blend of genres, achieving that level of commercial success as a classical artist, it's unprecedented. He really did act as this cultural ambassador.
Democratizing opera, you could say.
That's a good way to put it. Making it accessible. Using his voice, his collaborations, his platform to just bring this music to people who might never have encountered it otherwise.
And he consistently reached across generations, working with Pavarotti, then years later with Ed Sheeran, Ariana Grande, and now his own children.
That strategy seems so deliberate. So thinking about all that, his whole approach, it leaves you with a pretty big question, doesn't it?
About the future of classical music.
Yeah. We see how Bocelli used collaboration, crossover appeal, family involvement to reach these huge audiences. In an age where music is so fragmented, digital attention spans are short, how vital is that approach?
That intergenerational, intergenre connection.
Exactly. How crucial is that specific strategy for making sure traditional classical music stays relevant, stays visible, connects with the next generation of listeners?
It's a fascinating question. Will it take another Bocelli, or can the established classical world adapt using some of those same tools?
Only time will tell, I suppose, but it's definitely something to think about.
A really profound thought to leave our listeners with as they maybe go explore his incredible music. Thank you for diving deep with us today.